Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel if you've been here before, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. I'm Tara, and today's video is not actually planned at all. I was just kind of sat here. I've just finished filming a different video for a different channel, Empowered Chef. Check it out. It's always linked in my channel in the other in the other channel section. So please check it out. If you're at all interested in food, why am I whispering? If you're at all interested in food, if you're interested in cooking and basically learning some of the secrets to being an amazing chef, even at home, please check out that channel. But enough shameless self-plug. Today's video, like I said, isn't really planned. I was just kind of sat here and I was like, oh, I think it would be really good to actually make a video about, I don't even know what the subject is. I mean, you'll see from the title, so you'll know before me what I've titled this. But it's more to do with the breakdown that I had and how that breakdown really was a catalyst for me to now be living the best life that I can be living at this moment, and what it's really what catapulted a lot of the good stuff that is happening in my life. I'm going to try and not make it super long because I probably won't go into every single bit of detail because there'll be just too much, and there'll be other things that I probably can't really talk about or mention just because I feel like if I even say why I can't say, then it would be obvious what it is. It's not, everything isn't just about me. So yeah, I think that's probably the best way to say that. So starting from the end of 2019, I started not feeling great. I can't even place my finger on it. You know, when you just don't feel good, it's not like you're super ill in an obvious way that you can go to the doctor and say, oh, you know, I feel this or I feel that. It was just more, I felt really uncomfortable in the world. I think that's actually the best way to explain it. I felt uncomfortable in the world. I felt, I'd feel sick, as in literally sick, like I'm going to throw up, just over things that didn't really make sense. I'm somebody that enjoys a drink. Ironic, as you can see. I'm somebody that enjoys a drink in like a healthy way, as in I just like alcohol. You know, I like whiskey. I love red wines, that type of thing. I enjoy a drink, and I found that at this time I actually couldn't even drink. I found that I couldn't even have coffee anymore, and I was obsessed with coffee. But really, these things that were just normal, I couldn't really have anymore. I just didn't feel right physically, right? All of this, by the way, is relevant. I know it just sounds like I'm talking about an illness, but it's all relevant. So it started then in, at the end of December, at the end of 2019, sorry, not at the end of December, at the end of 2019. And I thought, oh, it's been the end of a long year. I've got the Christmas break coming up, so, it'll be nice. I'll have that 2 weeks to chill, and then, I'll be grand. That 2 weeks happened. I actually really enjoyed it. I felt better in that time. And yeah, I thought I was feeling okayish again. I say okayish because it was never 100%. Like, it just wasn't. I just felt okayish. So as the end of the 2 weeks was sort of nearing, I was like, okay, I'm not completely better. I would have thought that I'd be completely fine and, and ready to go back to work and just ready to get on with things. But I wasn't. I still wasn't feeling great. Like, I really was not feeling great at all. But again, I didn't go get it checked or anything. I was just like, oh, I'll be fine. It is what it is, blah, 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 blah. And then obviously I went back to work, and I was so ill. It got worse. Like, I was throwing up left, right, and center. I couldn't eat. I felt physical pain in my stomach. It felt like somebody was twisting my insides. That's all I can describe. I'd literally be doubled over in pain. Um, it was bad. I couldn't stop crying. So now I had other symptoms on top of the old ones. I couldn't stop crying. I'd literally just burst into tears. Sometimes literally over nothing. I'd just be sat there. Next thing you know, I just have to quickly go to the loo because I'm about to start bawling my eyes out. And it got so bad that I couldn't hide it. It wasn't even like, I could hide it from the people at work. you know, it just was that bad. It was just obvious. Even when, like I said, when I was crying or whatever, I'd obviously be running to the toilet. People wouldn't be seeing me cry. When I'd been throwing up again, it's in the toilet. But it was to the point where I'm black, obviously. I'm black, but literally people would be like, you look pale as hell. That's how bad it got. I just couldn't function. I could not function in front of people anymore. It just got that bad. I'd feel slightly better when I was at home. Only slightly though, but it was still there. The pain was still there. The feeling sick was still there. The constant wanting to cry was there. And then came literally the vibrations and the heartbeat of like literally feeling like I was having a heart attack, like every however many, like in a day I'd probably have that heart attack feeling like maybe twice in a day. But it would happen just regularly. And I was like, yo, what's going on? Like, I'm falling apart. Like, I'm literally falling apart. What's happening? I cannot function. I couldn't sleep. Oh my God. This is the thing. It just kept getting worse and worse. I couldn't sleep. I'm crying all the time. I'm feeling on edge all the time. I'm feeling sick. I'm in pain. It was just awful. It was so awful. I don't even know how to describe it to people. I would not wish that on anyone at all. Even talking about it, like, starts to make me feel a little bit uncomfortable. Like, it actually starts to make me, I don't know, it's such a weird feeling inside. So obviously all of this is happening and I'm like, okay, I can't keep ignoring this anymore. I need to go to the doctor because this is normal. What is happening? I went to the doctor and obviously they were asking me all of the normal questions. And then the doctor, then she kind of changed her tone and she was like, and then she started asking me like more personal stuff. And I remember thinking, why is she asking me this personal stuff? What does that have to do with what I'm talking about? But then I realized why she was asking me the personal stuff, because as she was asking me these things and I was being forced to think deeper, and being forced to actually answer these questions, I then burst out crying again in there. And I realized I was actually, well, I say I realized, we both realized, because obviously the doctor is the one that ended up telling me this, that I was actually going through a mental breakdown or a nervous breakdown, whichever term you want to look at. They both mean the same thing. And obviously that's not the official term. Like, I was just going, I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, and I was going through, I call them episodes. I don't know what other people refer to them as, but I call them episodes because that's the only thing I can think to call them. Super long episodes, but episodes nonetheless. I mean, they're not always super long, actually. But yeah, I was literally going through a nervous breakdown. And it made sense as soon, like I said, as soon as I was being asked those questions and as soon as we actually stopped to look a bit deeper, yeah, I was going through a nervous breakdown. So now the hard part starts, because the easy part is getting the diagnosis. And by the way, guys, if you are going through anything that just doesn't make sense to you, and it's mental and it's physical and it's everything, and it just doesn't feel right and you don't feel right, please go to the doctor straight away. Please. Because as soon as you know, it actually takes some of the edge off. Obviously, it doesn't cure it, just knowing. but it does take some of the edge off, because some of the symptoms that you end up experiencing is the heightened anxiety on top of the generalized anxiety that you already have, because you don't know what's wrong with you, because you're panicking. That sense of not knowing, and that sense of panic, and that sense of, oh no, everything's going wrong, I'm falling apart, I'm ill, I don't know what's happening, that can actually contribute, not even that can, that does contribute to worsening the symptoms. So knowledge is key. Knowledge is really the root of everything, because that's how you kind of know, okay, so this is the issue and this is how I can start to help myself. So we figure that out, and I get referred to, like, we've got the NHS here, so you've got the option to get referred to this self-help thing where you can get therapy and stuff like that you need for free on the NHS. However, the only issue with this is there's always a long wait. There is, like, on average, you're looking at about a 12-week wait. I remember a few years ago when I was going through another episode, not quite as bad as this one, but it was still an episode. I tried to use the self-help referral, and I never actually heard back. I never, ever heard back. And I remember thinking, wow, so you reach out for help and you don't even hear back. What if I was somebody that was literally on the edge and didn't know what else to do? Even a phone call to, like, say, hey, we got your query or whatever. But that's a story for another day. But yeah, so with this, there was a long wait. And they gave me also another option. They were like, oh, just in case it gets really bad, these are other charities that you can contact in the meantime, and they offer different services that they can help you with. Funnily enough, the option that they gave me, it was literally down the road. I'm talking 5-minute walk from where I lived was the other option, which I ended up using, by the way. Just fast forwarding a little bit, I did end up using that because I couldn't wait. I tried to wait in the beginning. I thought, oh yeah, it's fine, you can wait until the whatever is available. Couldn't wait. It just, yeah. I mean, I've described my symptoms. They were bad. There was no way I could have waited however long. I would have fallen apart by that time. But before I even go into the therapy part, this is more, actually, I might make the therapy video a separate video, because something even happened with that. That's, like I said, a whole other story on its own. This video is mostly to, like I said in the beginning, to highlight how that period and that whole experience, and that breakdown lasted for about a few months. Yeah, months. And even then, it's something that you're constantly recovering from. Like with the diagnosis of GAD, it is something that I'll constantly be working on, but I am so great now. And the reason was that time, because it kind of happened before the pandemic. That's the other thing. So if you remember, I said this all started like at the end of 2019, and then the big dramaticness was happening in the beginning of the year. I ended up being signed off work, actually medically signed off work, because it was that bad. I was signed off work. I think I was off for about 2 months, and then literally the week I went back was when the first lockdown happened. No exaggeration, the week I went back, the first lockdown happened, and we were all forced to go back and work from home, which was a blessing in disguise for me, because I wasn't ready. Like, I realized very quickly I was not ready to get back at all. But yeah, so that period really was the catapult in me sitting down for the first time in years and actually looking within and having a massive think about where my life was going, about what my goals were, about what my future was going to look like, about really my goals and what I wanted in life. I was forced to at that time because I was off, and this is something that I clearly needed. I figured out, one, that a lot of the things I thought I wanted weren't things that I actually wanted. They were just things that society was telling us were the things that we should be aiming for. You know, aiming to buy a house in this place that you grew up in, aiming to find a partner to settle with forever, to have kids, and then, you know, aiming to have that job that paid you well enough to just be comfortable. And I was like, why was I really gung-ho about going for these things that really, when I sat down to think about it, and I didn't even have to think that long, they weren't what I want at all. They're not what I want. Like the thought of them doesn't make me happy in the same way it makes other people happy, because I've had now discussions with people just to see perhaps it's normal, and it's like, no, other people have these particular urges where they want to take their life that happen to just match most of society. But I just wasn't one of those people. And I realized that breakdown was almost my body and my spirit and everything around me screaming at me to stop. It was screaming at me to say, you need to slow down and think about what you're doing. I don't think this is what you want. Because a big thing that you'll learn about me on this channel is that the spiritual journey that I'm on has shown me that what's mine is already mine. The things that I desire are already mine. I just need to go get them. And it also means that when you are going for the wrong things, if you do have a good connection to yourself, your body will try and tell you, yo, this is wrong. This is not where you should be going. You're literally going in the wrong direction. I felt like I was driving at full speed in the wrong direction. And that's why that breakdown happened, because literally the car was like, I don't know why you're driving on these rocky paths. And that's the other thing, is now my life feels so much easier. This life makes sense to me. The one that I'm living, and the journey that I'm on makes more sense. To me, this journey is a much smoother ride because it's natural. It's where I'm supposed to be going. It's what I'm supposed to be doing. At least right now, I'm kind of taking things day by day. I just made up an analogy and I really like that. Yeah, so before, literally, I was driving this old ass car on this rocky ass road at full speed in the wrong direction. And that's why the car, me, was like, you need to stop, because I don't know where you think you're going. This is not the right direction. And now everything in my life just makes so much more sense. Like, that's how I decided about being a digital nomad. That's coming soon. That's starting soon. This channel has so much coming, by the way, so much coming. But that's how I made the decision that I needed to be a digital nomad. When I made the decision that I needed to be a digital nomad, I then obviously stepped back and was like, okay, to get to that point, what do I need? The first thing was, I am the type of person that likes being secure. I don't really do well with insecurity in terms of like money. So I wanted to make sure that I had a job that was fully remote, as in I could literally work from literally anywhere in the little world as long as I have access to the internet. That was really the biggest thing, because when you have that, what's keeping you here, you know? And obviously all of this, I was thinking I still had my old job, which was not a remote first job, complete opposite. In fact, very office-based, very strictly office-based, which is another thing that I was like, I knew that just wasn't for me. And yet I'd convinced myself that this is where I needed to be. This is where my future was. Just little weird things like that, where deep down I knew that these things weren't for me, but I became so good at ignoring that voice, ignoring that part, that I genuinely, on the surface, had convinced myself that this is what I wanted and needed. But yeah, you always know better than you realize, and all it takes is you listening. Because now I'm in that job that I wanted, which is a remote first job. Absolutely incredible company. I am so lucky to work for this company. Even getting my job here was one of those things that I sat down and I made a list of the things that I needed and wanted from my next job that were just non-negotiables. And I got everything on that list and more with this role. In fact, I've just recently been promoted to the job that it's going to be hard in the sense that it's a big deal. Like it's a big responsibility, but it encompasses all of the things that I am. And I don't want to say all of the things that I am because we're not really the things that we think we are. That's a story for another day. But all of the things that this surface me is, this artificial me living in this world is, that's this job that that I've just been promoted to. And it's just mental how when you do actually really listen to yourself and you do the things that make sense for you, things just fall into place. They really do. They just fall into place in a way that is so hard to explain, and it's so hard to try convince other people of until they start experiencing it themselves, until they get into that mindset. And I say this so confidently because I used to be one of those people that would hear stories like this or hear somebody going, hey, like everything. And this isn't me saying my life is perfect, by the way, because absolutely not. I don't think anything is perfect. Although actually it depends what your definition of perfection is. I think a lot of my definitions for things are changing. My life is perfect in the sense that even the bad things that are happening, they have to happen. They have to happen for other things to happen. And this is how everybody should look at their lives, really, is the bad things that happen really do need to happen. I know that sounds like, what do you mean? But they do. They have to happen for other things to happen. Like, I had to lose jobs for me to end up in a dream job. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, I needed to, oh my God, great example, this entire video, I needed to have a literal nervous breakdown that was the most awful thing I've ever experienced in my life to be sat here telling you how things have changed for me. I mean, this topic is so big because there's so many different facets of my life that got changed because of that. If I sat down and tried to make this video explaining every single bit, we would be here for a while. Like I said, there's no rush. I plan to keep this channel for as long as, I don't know, as long as the channel needs to be kept alive. So there's time, for me to tell you the deeper stories and hone in on different experiences that led to different areas in my life. Like my finances, for instance. Oh my gosh. If my finances now compared to literally this time a year ago, like night and day. Are we even the same person? Are these, like, literally so many dramatic ass changes have happened? I'm not even the same person. Like, this time last year, I'm not the same person. And like I said, I will make other videos going into deeper conversations about the different areas. So each one can get its own video, just so these aren't super long. But yeah, that's what happened to me last year, that massive nervous breakdown. And if you guys, like I said before, are experiencing any of those types of symptoms or just anything that does not feel right, please listen to your body. Please listen to your body and just go speak to a doctor, because you never know. Yeah, speak to a doctor, please. That's one thing I'll say. I don't think there's too much more before I end up rambling and actually starting a new topic. So I'm going to leave this video here. However, please do check back because I will be posting videos on this channel every week. And yeah, let me know what other things you'd like to know. I am a Scorpio, so y'all are never gonna know my full ass life. Y'all are never gonna know every single thing, because you're just not. But there are a lot of topics that I think should be discussed that people keep private, and I think keeping certain things private is what, not private, that's the wrong word, but just not being open about certain topics, I think is what gives these things power. Mental health is one. I think that's what gives some of those things power, is when people don't talk about it. So I'm more than happy to talk a lot about mental health on here. I'm more than happy to talk about finances on here. I'm not fully 100% yet into like, oh, let me tell you my entire financial history. I'm not quite there yet. However, I am quite happy to discuss how I'm like working through my debt and stuff like that, because that was a big ass topic that really was screwing up my life. But yeah, so many things. Let me know what you guys want to hear. Always open to ideas about other topics. Spirituality is another one. Do you know what? I could actually keep going on if I don't actually close this off. So I'm going to stop myself here and say thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have an incredible week ahead, and I hope to see you next week when I post my next one. Love, light, and money. Mwah.